Commander Olivia Russell stood at the large window of her private quarters, watching the stars streak by as the Starseeker traveled through space. She took a deep breath, trying to calm her nerves. Today was the day she would meet the newest member of her crew, a human. Most captains in the Galactic Alliance thought of humans as dangerous and unpredictable, wild creatures from a harsh planet who somehow managed to join the spacefaring community. But every captain also knew that when things went wrong, really wrong, you wanted a human nearby. Olivia checked the time. The transport shuttle would dock in 30 minutes. She straightened her blue uniform and left her quarters, walking down the curved hallway toward the main deck. As she walked, crew members nodded respectfully. The Starseeker had a diverse crew, tall, four-armed Xandrians working at engineering stations, small, quick-moving Pelori handling communications, and the bulky, thick-skinned Dravik, who made excellent security officers. They all came from different worlds with different biologies and cultures, but they worked well together, yet the news that a human would join them had created a buzz of excitement and worry throughout the ship. "Commander on deck," announced First Officer Vrek as Olivia entered the bridge. The Xandrian stood nearly 7 feet tall, his forearms moving in perfect coordination as he worked on a star chart. "At ease," Olivia said. "How long until the shuttle arrives?" 28 minutes, Commander," Vrek replied. "Are you sure about this human assignment? I've heard stories." Olivia smiled slightly. "We all have. But my father served with a human during the Proxima conflict. Sighed he wouldn't have survived without him." Vrek's large eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of surprise in his species. "Your father actually met one? What was it like?" "He said the human looked ordinary enough, smaller than you, less armored than a Dravik. But when their ship was attacked and the life support failed, the human stayed conscious longer than anyone else. Managed to fix the system while everyone was passing out from lack of oxygen. Their respiratory efficiency is remarkable," said Dr. Zen, the ship's physician, who had quietly entered the bridge. The small, blue-skinned Pelori held a data pad. "I've been studying human physiology to prepare for our new crew member. Their adaptability is ... concerning." "Concerning?" Olivia asked. Dr. Zen nodded. "They can survive in temperature ranges that would kill most species. Their bodies can process toxins that would be fatal to others, and their pain tolerance." She shuddered slightly. "Well, let's just say they can keep functioning with injuries that would incapacitate any reasonable being. That's why Fleet Command is assigning human crew members to deep space vessels," Olivia explained. "Where we're going, into the uncharted Cygnus expanse, we might face situations no one has prepared for. Humans are good at handling the unexpected." The ship's communication system chimed. "Commander," came the voice of the docking bay officer, "the transport shuttle is approaching ahead of schedule. 8 to 12 minutes. Olivia straightened her uniform again. "Thank you. Please inform Security Chief Grawl to meet me at the docking bay." As she made her way to the lower deck, Olivia wondered what the human would be like. The files she received mentioned his name, Alan Clark, and his service record, which was impressive. Former military, specialized training in survival and security, experienced in first contact situations. But files told you little about a person. The massive Dravik security chief was waiting when she arrived. Grawl's thick, gray skin looked like stone, and at 8 feet tall, he towered over most of the crew. "Commander," he rumbled, "is it wise to have the human join security? My officers are concerned." "The human has a name, Chief. It's Alan Clark, and yes, he'll be joining your security team. His skills will be valuable in unknown territory." Grawl didn't look convinced. Humans are unstable. Their emotions change quickly. They get angry, sad, happy all in the same day sometimes. How can we trust someone so ... changeable? Olivia was about to answer when the docking bay doors opened. The small transport shuttle had arrived. A hiss of air pressure equalization filled the room as the shuttle's door slid open. The man who stepped out looked ordinary. About 6 feet tall, with short brown hair and a standard Alliance uniform. But something about the way he carried himself, alert, balanced, Reddy made him seem different from the other humans Olivia had seen in passing at Alliance headquarters. "Security Officer Alan Clark, reporting for duty, Commander," he said, with a crisp salute. "Welcome aboard the Starseeker, Officer Clark," Olivia replied, returning the salute. "This is Security Chief Grawl, your direct superior." Clark looked up at the massive Dravik without flinching. "Sir, looking forward to serving with you and your team," Grawl grunted, his version of a polite acknowledgement. "We'll get you settled in your quarters, then you can report to Dr. Zen for a standard medical check," Olivia said. "Our mission begins officially tomorrow. We'll be the first Alliance vessel to explore the outer regions of the Cygnus Expanse." "Sounds exciting," Clark said with a small smile. "That's why I requested deep space assignment. I've always wanted to see what's out there." As they walked through the ship toward the crew quarters, Olivia noticed how other crew members reacted to Clark. Some stared openly, others kept their distance. A group of young Xandrian engineers whispered among themselves, all four of their arms gesturing excitedly. "They're curious about you," Olivia explained. "Most have never met a human before." Clark nodded. "I'm used to it. We have a certain ... reputation." "Is it true," she asked quietly, "what they say about humans? About how you can keep fighting even when badly injured?" Clark was silent for a moment. "We do what needs to be done," he finally said. "When there's no choice, you'd be surprised what anyone can do." Later that evening, Olivia sat in the ship's mess hall, watching as Clark ate alone at a corner table. The other crew members gave him space, stealing glances when they thought he wasn't looking. Dr. Zen slid into the seat across from Olivia. "I completed his medical exam," she said in a low voice. "His body is covered in scars, evidence of injuries that should have been fatal. When I asked about them, he just shrugged like it was nothing." "And?" Olivia prompted. "And I've never seen anything like it?" "His heart rate barely changed when discussing near-death experiences. It's like..." Dr. Zen struggled to find the words. "It's like he's made peace with the idea that death could come at any moment. Yet he's absolutely determined it won't happen on his watch." Olivia watched as a brave young Pelori communications officer approached Clark and hesitantly asked him a question. Clark smiled and gestured for the officer to sit down. "They're terrifying," Dr. Zen whispered. "These humans." "Yes," Olivia agreed. "And that's exactly why we need him." 3 weeks after joining the Starseeker, Alan Clark had settled into a routine. Each morning he woke early and exercised in his quarters, pushing his human body through a series of movements that the ship's alien crew found both fascinating and disturbing. Then he reported for duty on the security deck, where he trained with Chief Grall's team. At first, the other security officers had kept their distance. The Dravak were naturally cautious around new species, but after seeing Clark's skills during training sessions, their attitude began to change. Today, Clark was teaching them human fighting techniques in the training room. 4 security officers circled him on the padded floor. "Humans don't have natural armor like Dravak," Clark explained. "We don't have 4 arms like Xandrians. We have to use what we do have: speed and adaptability." Clark motioned for one of the Dravak officers to attack. The alien charged forward, his massive gray body moving with surprising quickness. But just as the Dravak reached him, Clark sidestepped, used the alien's momentum against him, and sent him tumbling to the floor. "Smaller opponents can defeat larger ones by using proper technique," Clark said, helping the officer up. "Now, let's practice." From the observation area above the training room, Commander Olivia Russell watched with interest. Beside her stood Science Officer Nex, a Valerian whose tentacled body quivered slightly as he watched the training. "I find humans paradoxical," Nex said, his large eyes blinking. "Officer Clark appears so calm, yet his fighting ability suggests an inner violence. How do these traits exist together in one being?" Olivia considered this. "My father once told me that the most dangerous humans aren't the angry ones. They're the calm ones who know exactly what they're capable of." Their conversation was interrupted by First Officer Vrek's voice over the communication system. "Commander, to the bridge. We've detected a distress signal." When Olivia arrived on the bridge, the main screen showed a small moon orbiting a large gas giant. Red warning indicators flashed around the image. "We picked up a distress signal from the research outpost on this moon," Vrek explained. It cut off suddenly. The last message mentioned unknown life form and emergency evacuation. Olivia frowned. "That outpost has 10 researchers studying the gas giant's atmosphere. How far are we?" 2 hours at maximum speed, Vrek answered. "Set course immediately," Olivia ordered. "Assemble and away team security and medical, and include Officer Clark." 2 hours later, the away team gathered in the shuttle bay. The team consisted of 2 Dravik security officers, Dr. Zen, Science Officer Next, and Alan Clark. Clark checked his pulse pistol with practiced efficiency. "Remember," Olivia told them, "this is a rescue mission. The priority is finding survivors. Officer Clark will be team lead." The Dravik officers exchanged surprised looks. Putting a newcomer in charge was unusual. But they didn't question the commander's decision. As the shuttle approached the moon's surface, they could see the research outpost, a collection of domes connected by enclosed walkways. One of the domes had a large hole torn in its side. Life support is functioning in the main dome, but environmental readings show extreme cold in the damaged sections. Next reported tentacles moving across the shuttle's control panel. No life signs detected. The shuttle landed near the main airlock. The team put on their environmental suits before stepping onto the moon's surface. Low gravity made their movements bouncy, but the suit's stabilizers helped. "Stay alert," Clark said as they approached the airlock. "We don't know what caused that damage." Inside the main dome, emergency lights cast a red glow over the scene. Equipment was scattered across the floor. Tables were overturned. On the walls, dark stains that looked like blood left ugly patterns. "What happened here?" whispered one of the Dravik officers. Dr. Zen scanned the stains. "Confirmed human and Zandrian blood, but where are the bodies?" Clark motioned for the team to stay close as they moved deeper into the outpost. Each room they checked was empty, but showed signs of violence: broken furniture, more bloodstains, abandoned personal items. "The temperature is dropping," Nex warned, checking his scanner. "Something's wrong with the environmental controls." Clark pointed toward a corridor leading to the damaged dome. "We need to check for survivors." As they moved down the corridor, the temperature fell rapidly. Their breath formed clouds inside their helmets. Near the damaged section, they found the first body, a human researcher, frozen solid. Dr. Zen knelt to scan the body. "He's been dead for at least 12 hours. Cause of death, double quote." She paused, looking troubled. "His chest cavity has been opened. Some organs are missing." Clark's face showed no emotion, but his hand tightened on his weapon. "We need to find the other researchers." They continued their search, finding 2 more bodies in similar condition. All had the same terrible chest wounds. All were frozen. "These, weren't random attacks," Clark said quietly. "Something was hunting them, taking specific parts." A loud crash came from the damaged dome ahead. Everyone froze. "I thought you said there were no life signs?" one of the Dravik officers whispered. "Tio Nex." "There aren't," the Valerian replied, his tentacles trembling. "Whatever is making that noise, my scanner doesn't register it as alive." Clark made a quick decision. "We need to see what we're dealing with. Stay behind me." They moved toward the damaged dome, stepping carefully through the airlock that separated it from the rest of the outpost. Beyond the airlock, the dome was open to the moon's atmosphere. Their environmental suits protected them from the vacuum, but the extreme cold made movements difficult. Inside the damaged dome, they found what remained of the research equipment, now crushed and scattered, and something else. Something moving. Among the wreckage, it was unlike any creature they had seen before. About the size of a large earth bear, but with no fur. Its skin was dark and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. 6 limbs ended in claws that could easily tear through metal. Its head had no visible eyes, but a large mouth filled with rows of teeth. "Back up slowly," Clark whispered over the com. No sudden movements, but it was too late. The creature turned toward them, opening its mouth in a silent scream. It leaped forward with incredible speed. "Run!" Clark shouted, raising his weapon and firing. The pulse pistol's energy blast hit the creature directly, but it seemed to have no effect. The creature kept coming. The team turned to retreat, but the creature was faster. It grabbed one of the Dravek officers with two of its limbs, pulling him back. Without hesitation, Clark ran toward the creature instead of away from it. He fired his weapon at close range, aiming for what he hoped was a vulnerable spot. The creature released the Dravek officer and turned its attention to Clark. It swung one powerful limb, sending Clark flying across the dome. He hit a wall hard, his environmental suit tearing. "Clark," Dr. Zen shouted over the comm, "your suit is compromised!" But Clark was already moving again, ignoring the warning. In the low gravity, he launched himself at the creature, drawing its attention away from the others. "Get to the shuttle," he ordered. "I'll keep it busy." The rest of the team helped the injured Dravek officer toward the exit, while Clark fought a desperate battle against the creature. His movements were becoming slower as the extreme cold affected his body, but he kept fighting as the team reached the airlock. Nex looked back. "We can't leave him." Dr. Zen hesitated, then made a decision. "Help me with this." She grabbed an experimental device from her medical kit. "If I can modify this scanner to emit a high-frequency pulse... While she worked, Clark continued to distract the creature, staying just beyond its reach, leading it away from the team. "Ready!" Dr. Zen called. "Clark, cover your ears and close your eyes." The device emitted a pulse of energy that filled the dome with blinding light. The creature writhed in pain, giving Clark the moment he needed to escape. Back on the shuttle as they sped away from the moon, Dr. Zen treated Clark's injuries. His exposed skin showed severe frostbite, and he had 3 broken ribs. "You should be dead," she said, amazed. The temperature in that dome was cold enough to kill most species instantly. Clark managed a weak smile. Humans are stubborn about dying. Nex watched Clark with new understanding. "You ran toward the danger, not away from it. Why?" "Because that's what humans do," Clark said simply. "We protect our team." News of the encounter on the research moon spread quickly throughout the Starseeker. The crew talked about how Alan Clark had faced the creature to save the others. Now, 2 weeks later, Clark was already back on duty despite his injuries. This surprised the alien crew members, who would have needed much longer to recover. But today, everyone's attention was on something else. The Starseeker was approaching a strange area of space where normal rules didn't seem to apply. Sensors showed unusual energy patterns that no one had seen before. On the bridge, Commander Olivia Russell studied the swirling colors on the main screen. The strange energy cloud stretched out before them, beautiful but worrying. "What do we know about it?" she asked First Officer Vrek. The tall Zandrian used all 4 of his arms to work the control panels. "Not much, Commander. It's giving off energy our sensors can't identify. No Alliance ship has recorded anything like this before." Science Officer Nex moved his tentacles excitedly. "It appears to be a completely new type of spatial anomaly. The scientific value of studying it would be enormous." Olivia nodded. "Plot a course to approach carefully. I want constant sensor readings." As the Starseeker moved closer to the energy cloud, the ship's systems began to act strangely. Lights flickered, computer screens showed random numbers. The artificial gravity felt heavier, then lighter. "Something's wrong," Vrek reported. "The energy is affecting our systems." Suddenly, all the alarms on the bridge activated at once. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. "Energy surge!" Nex shouted, his voice high with fear. "It's pulling us in!" Before Olivia could order a retreat, the Starseeker was caught in the energy cloud. The ship shook violently. Crew members held on to anything they could to stay upright. "Engine room, full reverse!" Olivia ordered through the communication system. Chief Engineer Samantha Jones, one of the 2 other humans on board, besides Clark, responded immediately. "Engines at full reverse, Commander, but we're still being pulled in. The shaking grew worse. Equipment broke free from walls. Several crew members were thrown to the floor. Hull integrity failing in sections 5 through 9, reported the damage. Control officer, and ... his voice became worried. Commander, we have a radiation leak in engineering. Olivia's heart sank. Radiation leaks were among the worst emergencies in space. Evacuate all affected areas, get medical teams ready. She turned to Vrek. What's the radiation level? The first officer checked his console, then looked up with wide eyes. Critical. Lethal to most species within minutes of exposure? The communication system crackled. Commander, this is Jones in engineering. The main coolant system for the reactor is failing. If it goes completely, we lose the ship. Evacuate now, Olivia. Ordered. That's an order, Jones. With respect, Commander, Jones replied, her voice steady despite the danger. Someone needs to stay and manually reroute the coolant system. I'm sending my team out, but I'm staying. The radiation will kill you, Olivia argued. Not as quickly as it would kill anyone else, Jones said simply. Humans can withstand radiation longer than other species. Give me 10 minutes, I can fix this. Olivia looked around the bridge. The alien crew members were watching her, waiting for her decision. They all knew Jones was right. Humans had a unique ability to function despite radiation exposure that would immediately incapacitate other species. 10 minutes, Olivia agreed reluctantly. Dr. Zen, prepare anti-radiation treatment. In the medical bay, Dr. Zen and her team rushed to prepare for radiation victims. Alan Clark arrived to help. Jones is still in engineering, he told the doctor. She's trying to fix the coolant system. Dr. Zen's blue skin paled. The radiation levels in there are lethal. For humans, death from radiation isn't instant, Clark explained. Our cells break down more slowly. We get sick, yes, but we have a window of time where we can still function. That's horrible, one of the medical assistants said. Clark shrugged. It's useful in emergencies like this. The ship continued to shake as it was pulled deeper into the energy cloud. In engineering, Samantha Jones worked quickly despite the growing pain in her body. The radiation detector on her uniform showed levels far beyond safe limits, but she ignored it. Her skin turned red and began to blister, her vision blurred. But her hands kept working, connecting emergency coolant lines, bypassing damaged systems. Fighting to save the ship, on the bridge Olivia watched the radiation levels with growing horror. She should be unconscious by now, she whispered. Human resilience is remarkable, Vrek said quietly, and terrifying. Finally, after 9 long minutes, Jones's voice came over the CUM system. Coolant system ... rerouted, radiation ... contained. Her words were weak, slurred with pain. Get a medical team to engineering now, Olivia ordered. When the medical team arrived, they found Jones collapsed on the floor. Her body was covered with radiation burns. Her breathing was shallow and irregular. But she had completed the repairs that saved the ship. As they rushed her to the medical bay, Dr. Zen scanned Jones's body. Cell damage is extensive, she reported to Olivia. No other species could have survived this long. Will she live? Olivia asked. I don't know, Dr. Zen admitted. But if she were any species other than human, she would already be dead. In the medical bay, Dr. Zen and her team worked desperately to save Jones. They used every advanced treatment available. Clark stayed nearby, helping where he could. Meanwhile, the Starseeker's engines finally managed to pull free from the energy cloud. The ship limped away, damaged but intact. Thanks to Jones's actions, the reactor hadn't exploded. The crew had survived. Hours later, Olivia visited the medical bay. Jones lay on a bed, her body wrapped in healing bandages. Monitoring devices beeped steadily around her. How is she? Olivia asked Dr. Zen. Stable, surprisingly, the doctor replied. Her cells are regenerating. Slowly, but they are regenerating. No other species has this ability to recover from such severe radiation damage. Clark stood nearby. Earth, our home planet, has natural radiation. Not a lot, but enough that our bodies evolved ways to repair radiation damage. It gives us an edge in situations like this. Olivia looked at Jones with new respect. When she wakes up, tell her she's getting a commendation. News of Jones's actions spread throughout the ship. Crew members who had once been wary of humans now looked at Clark and the other human crew member, Communications Officer Peter Wilson, with new understanding. Later that evening, Olivia found Clark in the observation lounge, looking out at the stars. "Your people are full of surprises," she said, joining him at the window. Clark smiled slightly. "We had to be. Earth isn't a gentle planet. To survive there, we had to become ... adaptable." "The crew is calling Jones a hero," Olivia told him. "She won't see it that way," Clark replied. "She say she just did what was necessary." Olivia considered this. "Is that how humans think? That risking your lives is just ... necessary?" "When there's no other choice, yes," Clark said. "We do what needs to be done to protect our home, our ship, our crew. It's not heroism to us, it's just survival." Olivia looked out at the stars. "Your kind is terrifying, you know that?" Clark nodded. "So we've been told. But in the emptiness of space, sometimes terrifying is exactly what you need." 1 month after the radiation incident, the Starseeker approached the home system of the Araxians. This was an important mission. The Araxians were a mysterious species who rarely allowed outsiders into their territory. Their technology was advanced, and the Galactic Alliance wanted to establish friendly relations with them. On the bridge, Commander Olivia Russell prepared her crew for first contact. "The Araxians are highly telepathic," she explained. "They can sense emotions and surface thoughts. This makes them uncomfortable around most species." First Officer Vrek looked concerned. "Will they be able to read our minds?" "Not exactly," Olivia replied. "But they will sense strong emotions and unguarded thoughts. That's why Communications Officer Peter Wilson will lead our contact team." Peter Wilson was the third human on board. The Starseeker. Unlike Clark's physical strength or Jones's engineering skills, Wilson's value came from something less obvious, the unique way human minds worked. Wilson stood calmly as the crew discussed the mission. He was younger than the other humans, with a friendly face and relaxed manner. "Why Wilson?" asked Security Chief Grawl. "Wouldn't a Valerian be better? They have some telepathic ability." "That's exactly why they wouldn't be better," Olivia explained. "The Araxians find other telepathic species overwhelming. But humans ... She looked at Wilson. "Humans have natural mental barriers that telepathic species find interesting." Dr. Zen nodded in agreement. "Human brains evolved without telepathy. They developed strong mental compartmentalization instead. It's like their thoughts are in separate rooms with doors that can be closed rather than one open space." As the Starseeker entered Araxian space, they were met by a small escort ship. The sleek, silver vessel guided them to a space station orbiting the Araxian homeworld. The contact team prepared to board the station. The team included Wilson, Science Officer Nex, Dr. Zen, and Commander Russell herself. "Remember," Olivia told them, "let Wilson take the lead." The Araxians requested human contact specifically. When they docked with the station, they were met by 3 Araxians. The aliens were tall and slender with pale skin that seemed to shimmer with a soft light. Their heads had no hair, but delicate translucent frills that moved gently, changing color with their emotions. The lead Araxian stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Threll. Welcome to Araxian space." His voice was musical, with strange harmonics that made it sound like multiple people speaking at once. Wilson stepped forward and gave the traditional Araxian greeting, touching his forehead with an open palm. "Thank you for inviting us, Ambassador. I am Communications Officer Peter Wilson of the Starseeker." Ambassador Threll's head frills rippled with a soft blue color, a sign of interest. "Your mind is ... different," he said to Wilson. "Orderly. Contained. Most species we encounter project their thoughts chaotically," Wilson smiled. "Humans don't have natural telepathic abilities. Our minds develop different protections." The Araxians led the team through the station to a meeting room. As they walked, Olivia noticed how the aliens kept their distance from everyone except Wilson. With him, they seemed almost comfortable. In the meeting room, Ambassador Threll explained why the Araxians had requested contact. We wish to join the Galactic Alliance, but our telepathic nature makes interaction with most species difficult. We've heard that humans have unique mental structures that might make communication easier. The discussion went well. Wilson answered questions about human psychology and how humans manage their emotions. The Araxians were particularly interested in how humans could experience strong feelings without being overwhelmed by them. You feel deeply, Threll observed, yet you can function despite these feelings. You can be afraid yet act bravely. You can be angry yet remain in control. How? Wilson thought for a moment. Humans evolved on a dangerous planet. We needed to feel fear to survive, but we also needed to overcome that fear when necessary. So we developed ways to acknowledge emotions without being controlled by them. As the meeting continued, Olivia noticed a group of Araxians watching from a separate area. Their head frills were dark red, a color not mentioned in the briefing. Materials. Suddenly, Wilson stiffened in his chair. His face showed momentary pain, then returned to its normal, calm expression. Is something wrong? Olivia asked quietly. Wilson gave a slight nod. We're being scanned more deeply. Not by the ambassador's group. By them, he gestured subtly toward the red-frilled observers. Before Olivia could respond, Ambassador Threll stood up abruptly. I apologize, he said, his frills flashing with distress. There are those among my people who oppose contact with outsiders. They are attempting to interfere. As he spoke, the room's atmosphere changed. Olivia felt a wave of fear wash over her. Beside her, Dr. Zen gasped and grabbed the table for support. Next, his tentacles curled tightly around his body, a sign of extreme distress. Only Wilson seemed relatively unaffected. He closed his eyes briefly, then opened them with renewed focus. They're projecting fear, he explained to Olivia, his voice strained but steady. It's a psychic attack. Ambassador Threll and his assistants were clearly struggling against the influence as well. I cannot stop them, Threll said. They are too many. The wave of fear intensified. Dr. Zen slid from her chair to the floor, unable to function. Nexa was frozen in place, his large eyes wide with terror. Even Olivia found it hard to think clearly as images of her worst fears filled her mind. Wilson stood up slowly. Ambassador, he said, his voice cutting through the fear, I can help, but I need your permission to approach the dissidents. Threll looked surprised but nodded. If you can still function, yes, proceed. Wilson walked steadily toward the red-frilled Araxians. They seemed shocked that he could move under their psychic assault. Your attack won't work on me the way you expect, Wilson told them calmly. Humans process fear differently. We acknowledge it, then act despite it. He continued to approach until he stood directly before the group. I understand your concerns about outsiders. Your caution is reasonable. But attacking us prevents the very discussion that could address those concerns. The leader of the dissident group stared at Wilson with obvious confusion. How are you resisting? Your mind should be paralyzed with fear. Wilson smiled slightly. I am afraid. But humans have lived with fear since we first evolved. It's an old companion. We don't deny. Did we use it? As Wilson spoke, the wave of fear began to diminish. The red-frilled Araxians lowered their hands, their psychic attack fading. Your mental structure, one of them said with reluctant admiration. It's like nothing we've encountered. You feel the fear, but it doesn't control you. That's humanity. In a nutshell, Wilson replied later. As the contact team prepared to return to the Starseeker, Ambassador Threll approached Wilson. Your resistance to the psychic attack has convinced even the dissidents that humans would make valuable intermediaries between Araxians and the Alliance. Threll's frills rippled with a new color, a deep purple that seemed to indicate respect. Your species is fascinating and somewhat terrifying in your mental resilience. On the shuttle back to the ship, Dr. Zen was still shaken. I couldn't function at all under that attack. Yet you kept thinking clearly. How? Wilson looked thoughtful. Humans have always lived with fear, pain, and other strong emotions. We had to learn to function despite them, or we wouldn't have survived. Olivia studied Wilson with new appreciation. First Clark's physical courage, then Jones's radiation resistance, now your mental resilience. You humans are full of surprises. That's why every space captain wants a human on board, Wilson said with a smile. We're the wild card, the crew member who might just do the impossible when it matters most. 6 months after beginning its mission, the Starseeker was heading back to Alliance headquarters. The ship had explored the Cygnus expanse, survived encounters with unknown dangers, and established first contact with the Araxians, Commander Olivia. Russell was proud of what her crew had accomplished. As the ship traveled through space, Olivia sat in her office, preparing her final report. She needed to summarize what they had learned during their mission, including her observations about the human crew members. There was a knock at her door. "Enter," she called. Dr. Zen came in, carrying a datapad. The small blue Pelori looked excited. "Commander, I've finished my research on human physiology and psychology," she said. "I thought you might want to include some of my findings in your report to Alliance headquarters." Olivia smiled. Dr. Zen had been fascinated by the humans since they joined the crew. She had spent months studying them, running tests, and observing their behavior. "What have you learned?" Olivia asked. Dr. Zen sat down and activated her datapad. Humans are unique among Alliance species in several important ways. Their physical resilience comes from evolving on a high-gravity planet with unstable weather patterns and many predators. Their mental resilience comes from needing to balance strong emotions with clear thinking. Nothing we didn't already know, Olivia noted. True, Dr. Zen admitted. But what's interesting is how these traits work together. Humans don't just survive dangerous situations, they learn from them. Each challenge makes them more adaptable for the next one. Olivia thought about this. She had seen it herself over the past 6 months. After the encounter with the creature on the research moon, Clark had developed new security protocols. After the radiation incident, Jones had designed improved safety systems. After the Araxian contact, Wilson had created new diplomatic approaches. "They're problem solvers," Olivia said. "Exactly," Dr. Zen agreed. "And that's what makes them so valuable on deep space missions. They don't just endure the unexpected, they find ways to overcome it." Later that day, Olivia called all 3 humans to the observation lounge. The large window showed the stars streaking by as the ship traveled at high speed. Alan Clark, Samantha Jones, and Peter Wilson stood before her, waiting to hear why she had summoned them. "We'll reach Alliance headquarters in 2 days, Olivia told them. "Before we arrive, I wanted to thank you personally for your service on this mission." The humans looked slightly uncomfortable with the praise, as they often did. "We were just doing our jobs, Commander," Clark said. Olivia smiled. "That's exactly what Dr. Zen said you would say. You see your actions as normal, but to the rest of the crew, they've been extraordinary." She turned to look out at the stars. "When you first came aboard, many crew members were afraid of you. They'd heard stories about humans, how dangerous you could be, how unpredictable. And now?" Jones asked. "Now they request to be on your teams," Olivia said. "They've seen what you can do, and they want to learn from you." The Dravik security officers train with Clark every day. The engineering team follows Jones's example of thoroughness. The communications department studies Wilson's negotiation techniques. Wilson looked surprised. "I didn't realize we'd had such an impact." "You have," Olivia assured him. "And it's not just on this ship. Word has spread throughout the Alliance fleet. When I check my messages each morning, I have requests from other captains asking how they can get human crew members assigned to their ships." The 3 humans exchanged glances, seeming both pleased and embarrassed by this information. "There's something else," Olivia continued. "Alliance headquarters is developing a new training program based on human approaches to problem solving. They want all 3 of you to help design it when we return." Clark raised an eyebrow. "They want other species to think like humans?" "Not exactly," Olivia clarified. "They want other species to understand how humans think so they can work better together. Your different perspective has proven valuable." As they discussed the details of the new program, the ship's communication system activated. "Commander," came First Officer Vrek's voice, "we're receiving a distress call from a nearby system. A passenger transport is under attack by unknown vessels." Olivia immediately headed for the door, the three humans right behind her. "Change course to intercept. Prepare for possible combat." On the bridge, the main screen showed a small passenger ship being pursued by three attack vessels of unknown design. "Time to intercept?" Olivia asked as she took her command chair. 12 minutes at maximum speed, Vrek reported. "They may not have 12 minutes, Clark observed, studying the tactical display. "Those attack ships are trying to disable the transport's engines." Olivia made a quick decision. "Clark, take a shuttle with a rescue team. Jones, I need maximum speed from the engines. Wilson, try to establish communication with the transport." The three humans moved immediately to their tasks, each focusing on what they did best. The bridge crew watched as Clark's shuttle launched, accelerating quickly toward the distant battle. Jones's voice came over the comm system, reporting that she had found a way to increase engine power by 12%, reducing their arrival time. Wilson worked at the communications station, trying different frequencies to reach the transport. "I have contact," Wilson announced. "Audio only." "Their communication system is damaged?" "Put it through," Olivia ordered. A panicked voice filled the bridge. "This is Transport Vessel Morningstar. We're under attack. We have civilians on board, including children. Please help." "This is Commander Russell of the Alliance vessel Starseeker," Olivia responded. "Help is on the way. We have a rescue shuttle approaching your position now." What followed was a tense rescue operation. Clark's shuttle reached the transport first, positioning itself between the passenger ship and the attackers. The Starseeker arrived minutes later, its weapons forcing the attack vessels to retreat. By the time the crisis ended, the humans had once again demonstrated their unique abilities. Clark had coordinated a daring rescue of the transport's passengers. Jones had kept the engines running beyond their normal limits. Wilson had maintained communication with the frightened passengers, keeping them calm throughout the ordeal. Back on the Starseeker, as the rescued passengers received medical attention, Olivia found Vrek on the bridge. "Another successful mission," he commented, all four arms busy at his console. "Thanks to our human crew members," Olivia replied. Vrek nodded thoughtfully. "When they first came aboard, I wondered why anyone would want such unpredictable beings on their ship. Now I understand." "And what do you understand?" Olivia asked. "That their unpredictability is exactly what makes them valuable," Vrek said. "In space, the unexpected is inevitable. Humans don't just survive the unexpected, they thrive on it." As the Starseeker continued its journey back to Alliance headquarters, Olivia finished her report. She included detailed accounts of everything the humans had done during the mission. She ended with a simple recommendation: every deep space vessel should have at least one human crew member. Yes, they're terrifying in their resilience and adaptability. But in the vast emptiness between stars, where anything can happen, that's exactly the kind of terrifying you want on your side.